Hey, welcome back to Reliable Sources. I'm Brian Stelter. Can you feel the pressure? As Robert Mueller's Russia investigation zeroes in on Trump's inner circle, pro-Trump hosts on TV and radio, like Sean Hannity, are trying harder than ever to discredit Mueller, the probe, and the FBI.
Mueller is corrupt. The senior FBI is corrupt. The system is corrupt.
I think there is, and has been ever since Trump was elected, a silent coup to get him out of office.
Illegitimate and corrupt. The deep state, Robert Mueller's partisan, extremely biased, hyper-partisan attack team.
Hatchet men that he's hired, Obama, Clinton supporters, have brought not a single case related to collusion.
Utter disgrace.
The deep state.
And the FBI has become America's secret police.
Do you see what can happen with the repetition when viewers and listeners are hearing it hour after hour? The campaign is continuing this weekend. Here's Jeanine Pirro's show from last night, and I want you to keep in mind as you watch this. Pirro counts herself as a friend and an informal advisor to the president.
There is a cleansing needed in our FBI and Department of Justice. It needs to be cleansed of individuals who should not just be fired, but who need to be taken out in handcuffs. The stench coming out of the Justice Department and the FBI is like that of a third world country. Well, it's time to take them out in cuffs.
We know the president watches and listens to these shows. So what's the impact of this anti-Mueller campaign? Back with me now, CNN political analyst Carl Bernstein. Carl, you say this is abetting a cover-up?
Yes, it abets a cover-up because there is a cover-up going on in the White House and among Trump's aides and former aides relating to these investigations. We do not know specifically what the cover-up is about, whether it constitutes an obstruction of justice or a criminal conspiracy at this point, though there's some evidence that suggests it might be the case. But yes, because the commentators that you are hearing and showing there are not open in any way to the best obtainable version of the truth, to facts, to context, who seem to be oblivious to the serial lying of the President of the United States and members of his family and those on his staff and those in the Trump organization. Yes, they are abetting a cover-up. But more important, where we need to go again is the idea of making the conduct of the press the issue, the conduct of the prosecutors the issue, making the conduct of everyone the issue except the President of the United States and those around him, including those who have pleaded guilty already.
I've seen different opinions about the real purpose of this anti-Mueller rhetoric. You see some people saying this is about goading Trump to fire Mueller. Others, like Byron York, writing this is actually impeachment politics, that there's an assumption Mueller will find something very damaging, that impeachment proceedings will begin, and attacking Mueller is a way to give Republicans a defense in an impeachment proceeding. How do you see it? Is it an attempt here to goad Trump into firing Mueller?
I think that's a little overcomplicated. I think that there is an attempt to defend Donald Trump by his base and by many, many Republicans on Capitol Hill and also ordinary Republican voters to defend him at any cost, including the cost of the truth. Because unlike Watergate, let's go back to Watergate and look at who the heroes of Watergate were. They were Republicans who said, you know, we have a criminal president of the United States. The fact that he is a Republican does not excuse him of criminality, and he needs to leave office. We don't seem to have that same attitude among mainstream Republicans, as well as Republicans of the Congress of the United States today, about the fairness of an open inquiry into Donald Trump and what might have occurred in his campaign related to the undermining of an American election apparently by the Russians, according to our intelligence agencies. So we are in a situation today in which, again, everyone's conduct, except those under investigation, is suspect. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. But we also are not living in a logical time. I mentioned this cold Civil War a few moments ago in the earlier segment. And I think we need to look at so much of our culture in terms of the Cold Civil War and the willing participation of combatants, incidentally, on all sides of the Cold Civil War, and willingness to be oblivious to facts is undermining our very culture and system. And these attacks are the most prominent evidence of how we are undermining truth and indeed abetting a cover-up by not being willing to look at what is staring us in the face, and that is, first of all, the lies of the President of the United States. Why is he lying? These same commentators at Fox ought to be, and elsewhere, ought to be asking. It doesn't mean that necessarily he ought to be impeached, that there's impeachable evidence. That's what the Mueller investigation is about, to find out, is there a real conspiracy? What is the conspiracy, if it exists, et cetera, et cetera. But it is a legitimate inquiry being conducted legitimately, and the fact that Mueller has isolated a couple of people in his investigation who seem to have expressed some political beliefs that are anti-Trump is more evidence of Mueller's attempt to conduct a fair and impartial and factual investigation, rather than the contrary.